Darwin called "my bulldog." Darwin was so frail in health that he did not make public appearances, but he remained secluded in the mansion he inherited after being personally converted by Darwin on a visit to Darwin's home. Huxley championed the evolutionary cause with everything he had. In the later part of the 19th century, while Haeckel laboured earnestly on the European continent, Huxley was Darwin's primary advocate in England. The X Club was a secret society in London which worked to further evolutionary thought and suppress scientific opposition to it. It was powerful, for all scientific papers considered by the Royal Society had to be first approved by this small group of 9 members. Chaired by Huxley, its members made contacts and powerful, effective British scientific associations. Michael Pittman, Adam and Evolution, 1984, page 64. Woo! You don't learn this in science class. But what do they do? Asked a curious journalist. They run British science, the professor replied, and on the whole they don't do it badly. R. Milner, Encyclopedia of Evolution, 1990, page 467. That's amazing. In the 20th century, US government agencies working closely with the National Science Federation and kindred organizations have channeled funds for research to universities willing to try and find evidence for evolution. Down to the present day, theorists are still trying to control the scientists. The Oxford debate was held in June 1860 at Oxford University. Only 7 months after the publication of Darwin's Origin of the Species, a special meeting of the British Association for the Advancement of Science. It marked a major turning point in England, just as the 1925 Scopes trial would be the turning point in North America. Scientific facts had little to do with either event, both were just battles between personalities. In both instances, evolutionists won through ridicule. They dared not rely on scientific facts to support their case, because they had none. Samuel Wilberforce, Anglican Bishop of Oxford University, was scheduled to speak that evening in defence of creationism. Huxley had lectured on behalf of evolution in many English cities and was not planning to attend that night, but Chambers, the spiritualist advisor to Huxley, was impressed to find and tell him he must attend. Wilberforce delivered a vigorous attack on evolution for half an hour before a packed audience of 700 people. His presentation was outstanding and the audience was apparently with him. But when Wilberforce turned and rhetorically asked Huxley a humorous question, whether it was through his grandfather or his grandmother that Huxley claimed descent from an ape, Huxley was extremely sharp-witted, and at the bishop's question he clasped the knee of the person sitting next to him and said, "He is delivered into my hands." Huxley arose, worked the audience up to a climax, and then declared that he would feel no shame in having an ape as an ancestor, but would be ashamed of a brilliant man who plunged into scientific questions of which he knew nothing. John W. Clutt, Science and Religion in Studies in Creation, 1985, page 4546. At this, the entire room went wild, some yelling one thing and others another. On a pretext so thin, the evolutionist in England became a power which scientists feared to oppose. We will learn that ridicule heaped on ridicule through the public press accomplished the same results for American evolutionists in Dayton, Tennessee in 1925. The Orgeal meteorite, 1861, was one of the many hoaxes perpetrated to further the cause of evolution. Someone inserted various dead microbes and then covered it over with a surface appearing like the meteorite. The object was to show that life came from outer space, but the hoax was later discovered. Scientific America, January 1965, page 52. A remarkable number of hoaxes have occurred since then. Men working desperately have tried to provide scientific evidence that does not exist. In the mid-1990s, a meteorite from Mars with a dead organism on it was trumpeted in the press, but ignored were the conclusions of competent scientists that discovery was highly speculative. Sir Francis Galton, in 1822 to 1911, Galton was Charles Darwin's cousin, who amplified on one of the theory's logical conclusions. He declared that the science of eugenics was the key to humanity's problems, put the weak, infirm and aged to sleep. Adolf Hitler, an ardent evolutionist, used it successfully in World War II. Otto Scott, playing Gott in Chalcedon Report, number 247, February 8, 1968, page 1. Wallace break with Darwin. Darwin's close friend Russell Wallace eventually separated from Darwin's position, a position he given Darwin when one realized that the human brain was far too advanced for evolutionary process to have produced it. Lawrence C. Easley, Was Darwin Wrong About the Human Brain? Harper's Magazine, 1955. Herbert Spencer, 1820-1903, along with certain other men, Friedrich Nietzsche, Karl Marx, and Sigmund Freud, John Dewey, introduced evolutionary modes of morality into social fields, sociology, psychology, education, welfare, economics, with devastating effects on the 20th century. Spencer, also a spiritist, was the one who initially invented the term evolution. R. Milner, Encyclopedia of Evolution, 1990, page 159. Spencer introduced sociology into Europe, clothing it in evolutionary terms. From there it travelled to America. He urged that the unfit be eliminated so society could properly evolve. Harvey E. Barnes, Historical Sociology, 1948, 13. In later years, even the leading evolutionists of the time, such as Huxley and Darwin, became tired of the fact that Spencer could do nothing but theorize and knew so little of real-life facts. The Archaeopteryx, 1861 to 1877. These consisted of several fossils from a single limestone quarry in Germany, each of which the quarry owner sold at high price. One appeared to possibly be a small dinosaur skeleton, complete with wings and feathers. European museums paid high prices for them, as well as we will learn below. In 1985, the Archaeopteryx was shown to be a fake. Ernest Haeckel, in 1834 to 1990, a teacher at the University of Jena in Germany, was the most zealous advocate of Darwinism on the continent in the 19th century. He drew a number of fraudulent charts, first published in 1868, which purported to show that embryos were almost identical to those of other animals. Reputable scientists repudiated them within a few years, for embryologists recognized the deceit. See Chapter 16, Vestiges and Recapitulation, on our website for the charts. Darwin and Haeckel had a strong influence on the rise of world communism. Daniel Geisman, Scientific Origins of National Socialism, Social Darwinism in Ernest Haeckel and the German Monist League, 1971. March Horde Series, 1870. Othniel C. March claimed to have found 30 different kinds of horse fossils in Wyoming and Nebraska. He reconstructed and arranged them in a small to large evolutionary series, which was never in a straight line. Encyclopedia Britannica, 1976, volume 7, page 13. Although displayed in museums for a time, the great majority of scientists later repudiated this horse series. Charles Depper, Transformations of the Animal World, page 105. J. Ed Kukut, Implications of Evolution, 1960, page 149. Friedrich Nietzsche, 1844-1900. Nietzsche was a remarkable example of a man who fully adopted Darwinian principles. He wrote books declaring that the way to evolve was to have wars and kill the weaker races in order to produce a super race. T. Walter Wollbank, Alston, M. Taylor, Civilization, Past and Present, Volume 2, 1949, page 274. Darwin, in Origin of Species, also said that this needed to happen.